he did was axe the school voucher program for 1,700 lower income kids in Washington, D.C.
Yeah,
How precious.
And then you send the kids
Really
to
sad what we have right now. Oh,
From what I understand, I'm in favor of the flat tax over the fair tax.
yes, sir.
But what I understand, in order to get rid of the income tax, we first got to bring in the fair tax and then supplement that or with the flat tax.
Here's-
Or eliminate the fair and then bring in the flat.
Here's how this works with the fair tax versus the flat tax. The income tax is fine. To get a flat tax, you can use the system we have without any amendments. To get a fair tax, that's one of the reasons why it's so difficult to get it. You have to repeal that 16th Amendment.
That's
If you don't repeal it, you can never consider putting it in, because these greedy politicians would just say, hey, it's now a VAT tax instead of a fair tax, which it should be. They would make it what Gabrielle Giffords is lying about on the commercial. So if we have to protect ourselves from that. And I think income taxes are fine. A lot of people talk about property taxes or consumption taxes, and there are great ideas there. And I'm not saying I'm not saying you're wrong and I'm right. What I'm saying is I'm fine with income taxes as long as we're paying to fund the essential functions of government, not to spread the wealth around. That's not the goal.
And then we could switch the fair tax to a flat tax later.
Well, we wouldn't need to do that. We could get the flat tax literally overnight. You could get the flat tax like that if you had Congress with the guts to pass it and a president with the brains to sign it. The fair tax is more difficult, much more difficult to get in. I'm not saying it's better or worse, but it's more difficult.
Are you planning on getting on the Armed Services Committee?
You bet.
And are you going to support David Monk?
Marine Corps combat veteran. What do you think? Yes, sir. Yes, sir, without hesitation.
Thank you.
Without hesitation. Those are the people that protect us. Yeah.
Yes, is there some way that we could get rid of all of this pork that is added on to all these bills constantly that Congress keeps passing? Is there any way at all?
Yeah.
For Congress.
Stop electing Gabrielle Giffords. Look, it's a simplistic answer, and I shouldn't have came right with it, but it's really one of those things. There's no, because each house sets its own rules. Article 1, Section 5. You can't pass a piece of legislation that says no pork because they can't even define what pork is. Although we all know what pork is. It's us building Jack Murtha Airport in Pennsylvania. That's the definition. But you just need to win elections with better people. That's the honest truth. Sir?
Everyone goes to Washington with great intentions.
No, they don't.
Most people, goodwill do. And then they get there, they get on their conferences, and they get real comfortable. Can you tell us right now that you're not going to do that?
Yeah, I hate Washington, D.C. I just do. I despise it there. I can't tell you what a relief it was. We were only there for 2.5 days this week to get off the plane back in Tucson, and just, my wife and my boys are here, and it's just it's a really gross place. I don't care for it in the least. I don't plan on drinking the Kool-Aid there in any way. We're going there to fight. We're going there to
Reference to the Department of Energy. They've been around for over 40 years, and they were supposed to save us from buying foreign oil. Since then, we are now paying the Department of Energy close to $40 billion a year for them to stop everything except foreign oil. What are we going to do about it? Maybe get rid of it?
preach it. The Department of No Energy, I believe is what it's called. Trying to get us off foreign oil. Well, we have domestic oil in this country. We have coal and nuclear and all these other things. Look, it's become the Department of the Sierra Club. That's what it is.
Yes.
It is the Department of the radical environmentalist movement. Let's just completely oppress every portion of energy in this country that works in order to put a windmill on everyone's head and a solar panel on your car. That is not what that thing was intended to be. Once again, like every other government entity, it's grown completely out of control and never did what it was intended to do. Yes, they're completely useless. Useless. Did you get that back there, liberals? Useless.
Yes, sir. We've talked about Department of Education, Department of Energy,
Yes.
and how government just needs to be downsized. And I think you represent my views right down the line. But the challenge, isn't it, to be able to caucus with 434 peers to get anything accomplished? How are you going to caucus once you get there in January?
Tell me who the peers are going to be. That's the problem. You're right, it's 435 peers. And if we were to take out Gabrielle Giffords right now in this Congress and drop me there, with everyone else being the same, this is all for naught. It's all just talk. We need to change Congress. The problem are the peers. We don't need to walk in with 5 conservatives in November. That doesn't do us any good, or January when we're sworn in. We need to walk in with 60. 100. That's that is the thing. You're right, because you're right. The fewer people that believe what we believe that go, the narrower and narrower that the portion we agree on is going to become. And that's just the reality of it. We need people who stand for what we believe. And I appreciate your kind words, but there are good people running everywhere too. There really are good people running everywhere. It's one of the advantages of running for office is you meet them all over the place, and there are great people running. There's a lot of hope this year. No, that was a bad word used, not hope and change. I didn't. Oh, no.
So, he's asked you, you know, what you were going to do. You should have told him you're going to take it one step at a time.
Well, the problem with that is, I have no intention of taking it one step at a time. We're about 500 steps behind. We've got to start taking it 10 steps at a time. We've got to start carving out broad swaths of this government and getting back to where we should be constitutionally, or we're going to run out of money quickly. We don't have time anymore. We don't have time anymore to be the party of, hey, let's look like we're working with the other side and whatnot. It's time to get back to what we believe. There's no time left. All the money's gone.
So it's the credibility.
Talking about money, when you were out to DC, did the Republican National Committee give you any donations?
Yeah, that's why we were there. The NRCC, actually, to their credit, and everybody that knows me knows, I'll be happy to work on the party every time they deserve it. They've been terrific since we won this part of the primary. The RNC, the NRCC, they've all lined up behind us. But now I realize a lot of it's because what I talked about, what CNN and Politico are saying, they need this one. It's not as if I'm under the illusion that they're all of a sudden in love with us. They need this seat, and we're going to use all the help we can get. Yeah, send the checks. We need them. Sir?
Yeah, getting back to earmarks, the other day in the paper, Giffords announced that we're getting a $4.9 million Coronado National Forest Ranger station out here, when the BLM over here on San Luis rents a huge building. The last time I was in there were 8 people on 2 floors doing nothing. I want to know why we're getting a $4.9 million new complex when they've got a ranger station and the BLM is here. Why can't they combine these things? And would you do that? And would you also join Jeff Flakes in no earmarks?
Yes, I've already signed a no earmark pledge, and yes, I would absolutely support what you described earlier. And the reason she did it, it's not an accident. It's not an accident. She's all of a sudden Miss Border Security. She goes down and finds a rancher and slaps him on TV. It's election year. It's time to conservative up, baby. Now she's Ronald Reagan all of a sudden. I have no idea. The lady who voted for Nancy Pelosi for Speaker of the House and will vote for her again is Barry Goldwater from the skies. We've seen this before, and we won't get fooled again. We're sick and tired of that. It's embarrassing, sir.
Yeah, I was thinking about the United Nations. We've been giving money to so many countries that don't need it. And it goes to the United Nations. Is there some way we can stop giving a few $1 billion to countries, some of which is Saudi Arabia is getting from us? And
Yeah, stop giving it to the United Nations.
get rid of it. Can we send it out to the
They're completely
billion?
worthless. Why? We fund the United Nations completely. I mean, we are by far the biggest donor to the United Nations. They exist because of us on our soil, and now we have a government that bows to them. We don't have to bow to them. I understand that the purpose for its creation, but it is something that has grown completely out of whack. When I hear things like the United Nations are going to pass legislation that affect American citizens, no, not in this world.
The previous League of Nations back in the 30s, 20s, they failed almost completely immediately. Because we went in. I think the United Nations is doing the same way.
That's because they didn't have the
You
money.
need to defund it. Bush defunded it.
Well, look, when it comes to things like the United Nations, I would love to sit here and tell you, hey, we'll snap our fingers and something miraculous is going to happen. What you need, what we're going to have, is a better administration, a better presidential administration that will take things the other way. But as I said, we are their biggest donor. We don't have to bow to them. Do we have the